Turkey is no exception in the geopolitical chessboard owned by the Cabal religions were created to divide and control the masses, just like political parties. But the real question isn't about ideologies or leaders. It's about ownership. Behind every movement, every party, every belief system, there are hidden hands. The true architects of global power, figures like the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, J.P. Morgan, and a handful of dynastic families, sit atop the pyramid. Call them what you will. The elite, the cabal, the hidden rulers. Every world leader, without exception, is nothing more than a carefully selected puppet serving their agenda. Everything else, democracy, patriotism, even religion, is just a story, a bedtime tale for the masses. Like Christmas, Turkey, too, remains in the grip of the same global families. Behind the scenes, Sabbatean elites exert power through dynasties like the Koch and Sabancı families, acting as local administrators of the international order. Just like the Federal Reserve in the U.S., Turkey's central bank is not truly national. It is part of the same global web that includes the IMF, BIS, and other so-called financial institutions. These entities are owned and controlled by the Cabal, a financial aristocracy that has mastered the art of creating money from nothing through seigniorage. They lend this fictitious capital to nations with high interest rates, and then use their political puppets to push governments into borrowing and printing even more. In the end, it's the taxpayers who pay the price, locked into a cycle of debt and servitude. While the elite grow richer by collecting interest from the masses they treat as economic slaves. I understand that in Turkey, you are living under an increasingly authoritarian government, one that imposes its will and policies on the people with little regard for dissent. Historically, the Turkish military acted as a balancing force, stepping in when political parties overstepped their boundaries or abused their power, much like we're witnessing again today. In today's Turkey, being part of the AKP elite guarantees privilege. A tight-knit circle of party insiders controls the flow of public funds, monopolizing government contracts and enriching themselves. But let's be clear, this is not unique to Turkey. Around the world, the same story repeats. Political parties, serving the interests of a few while exploiting the many. Corruption has become a global pandemic, and Turkey, like many nations, is simply one chapter in a much larger book of systemic abuse. I believe Erdoğan has proven himself to be an exceptional leader and a masterful player on the global geopolitical chessboard. He stands virtually alone, facing enormous pressure from the Cabal, the shadowy elite forces led by families like the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, and yet he continues to defend Turkey's sovereignty with remarkable resilience. When I look back at the line of Turkish prime ministers and presidents, after Ataturk, I see nothing but a series of corrupt, submissive figures, puppets of foreign interests who kept Turkey weak and dependent. One question always puzzled me. Why did Turkey seem to have no oil, while just across the border, vast reserves existed in abundance? It becomes clear that the global elites intentionally kept Turkey poor, denying it access to its own underground wealth, so they could control it like they did with colonized African nations. In truth, Turkey was economically and politically colonized, until Erdoğan took power and began pushing back against this hidden order. His leadership, despite flaws, marks a turning point, the beginning of a struggle to reclaim independence from the global financial masters who have ruled from the shadows for generations.